Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Paul Kingsbury, author of the second edition of the Chief Petty Officer's Guide. Today we're going to move on to the next episode in our series, and we're going to introduce you or even review your next power base, which is reward power. So this is captured in chapter 6 of your Chief Petty Officer's Guide, so hopefully you've had a chance to read that. I'm not going to go into super depth on every point that's in that chapter, but I wanted to give you a little bit of additional advice and tips that come to mind when we talk about it. So this chapter is called Carrots and Sticks because it talks about using your reward power base and your coercive power base. Today we're going to talk about how to use those carrots and making sure you're aware of those things that you have in your leadership tool bag as a chief petty officer or a chief in training for being a better leader. So let's talk about it. Like I said, chapter 6 gets into some of the fundamental ways that you can use reward power to motivate people. So we talked already extensively about positional power, about using personal power and expert power to generate buy-in, to develop your credibility. Now you get into using these other tools that you've got available that complement your people. They're more transactional. So reward power is going to be, hey, I'm going to promise you this for some kind of outcome or for not doing a certain thing. But there's some guidelines for using reward power, and I think it's in case you're not familiar with those and the options you have, we're going to talk about those today. But if you are familiar with using reward power, once again, this is about self-reflection, a couple questions to see how you're doing in those areas so that you're the best leader that you can actually be. So, all right, so the first thing I would offer a question you would ask is, do you know the rewards that you have available? Okay, and it sounds simple, but it's been my experience. Many people, they may know the rewards they've got, but they don't use them to their full extent. Or they don't know reward opportunities that are available that they can leverage to motivate their teams and their people. So we'll start with the simple ones, right? Things like, hey, praise. What do you use praise? Do you give feedback? Do you praise before? Do you motivate? Do you encourage using praise and words of affirmation as you need to? Some of us are more comfortable than others. Some people avoid giving praise, but if you're doing that, you're missing a key opportunity. So another form of, and frankly, these rewards, and the reward power you have, are sometimes tied to your authorities, right? So you have the opportunity to directly offer rewards that you can provide. In some cases, you have to lean on the authorities or use the authorities that other people have to offer rewards. And then you simply make the recommendations when they're due. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So we talked about praise. Then you've got things like time off, right? We know, at least in military context, you can use time off to motivate people. And then you've got things like, more impersonal kind of rewards, like, hey, some people are motivated by the promise of a job opportunity, a set of orders, a new, more responsibility, right? So don't underestimate those things. And then you've got things like formal awards, right? You got personal awards, but then you've also got the one that I found, and personally I had to learn as I got older as command master chief, and I got introduced to these. But there are a lot of agencies, I call them external agencies, that offer you rewards or the opportunity to use their award programs to recognize your people. So check those things out. They come out usually during NAV admins, so use that information power, use that connection power to get knowledgeable on things like Navy League awards, Geico awards, the U.S. Naval Institute, right? We don't have specific award programs, but we do have essay contests which offer prize or cash prizes as well. So know those kind of things that are available, get smart on them, because in many cases a lot of people don't know that those opportunities are out there. So just knowing those external agencies that offer those rewards for you, or at the TICOM, at the type commander level, puts you at an advantage. Just simply putting a package together and submitting your best, highest performers in for those awards gives you a kind of a leg up for some insider information as a chief. Talk briefly about, in some cases, not usually in the Navy, but there's opportunity to use cash or bonus awards. Benny Suggs Award comes to mind. But most of the kind of cash awards are usually going to be vested in someone who has more authority or some kind of external agency, one of those Navy League awards or something like that I've mentioned before. So those are examples of the awards and rewards you've got out there, and you should know what you got. But more importantly, the next thing you've got to ask yourself is, once you know the awards you've got in your tool bag and other people have the opportunity to help you give, is, do you know what rewards your people want, right? So this is that getting to know your people thing, right? It's This is a key question. So when you sit down during those check-in interviews, welcome aboard interviews, or maybe you're just talking to them, getting to learn your people, this is one of the key questions you should ask. Basically, what motivates you, right? And you're going to see they will give you tells on things, and you can ask leading questions. I suggest you check out the concept, if you haven't heard of them, believe it or not, of love languages, because even though that's put into the context of personal relationships, that is how people connect, and you can apply those into reward power too. So, for those not familiar, right, there's some people are motivated by words of affirmation, so they're going to be really motivated by praise. Some people are motivated by, or connect with touch, so a pat on the back kind of thing, hey, good job, coupled with praise. Some people are motivated by time with you, right? Some people are motivated by different things. So check out the love languages. I know it sounds kind of interesting, but I think you'll find that when you ask people about those things, you can at least use those 5 languages to kind of give you a guide about, hey, what really motivates you and what rewards can get you to do things or take things to the higher level. Okay. So the next thing you got to ask about reward power is, are you being consistent and fair? So first of all, are you offering rewards when you promise to give a reward, do you deliver? But more importantly, if you're offering awards, you better be able to deliver on it, right? So you can't promise a reward that's not within your authority or within your influence to deliver. So make sure you're doing that. And then, are you consistent with your rewards, right? So if you reward certain sailors or certain people in your organization or your team, other people are watching that on your team. So if someone does the similar behavior or better and they fail to get an award, that's going to take your personal power and your competence is going to take a hit on those 2 personal bases, and your credibility and the trust in your organization is going to go down. Okay. At the command level, for those command master sheets out there, right, this is always one thing that you help your commanding officers and your awards boards make sure that you're applying these awards consistently when the write-ups come. Precedence is often a discussion point there. Doesn't mean that you can break that, but you got to be mindful of the impact it can have. And then one thing, for command level, personal awards or award programs, frankly, like the meritorious advancement programs, an example, you're awarding advancement for performance. Here's a litmus test for your boards, right? Is ask yourself, when you come up with your final candidates or the person you would recommend for a given award, when you announce that in a public setting, how will the command react, right? And that should give you a good sense of the legitimacy of that award, and if it jives with the broader organization, the team values, and the performance. So something for you to think about there. So, and then finally, take time to ask yourself, are you being creative, right? So we've got the standard deck of awards that like I said, you're familiar with, but there's books out there. I came across one I think it's called 1,001 Ways to Reward Employees. A lot of those recommendations can be, adapted into a military context. So look for those opportunities, be creative, seek new ways to reward your people, and I think that you'll find that you're unlocking a powerful tool. So take some time to reflect on what I've talked about. Read chapter 6, reward, power, carrots, and sticks in your CPO guide. Reflect on it, and then take what you learn and go out and make a positive difference. I'll see you on the next episode.